So, Charlie, are we back, baby?
We back!
We are back here on Frat Sports. I really hope that wasn't too loud in post-production, but I don't really care, because we're back, baby. Frat Sports is back to another fall, another glorious fall of football. I am Chris Lopez, and my compadre here,
Charlie Romberg.
Glad to be back, man. Charlie, how's it feel?
It feels so good. Back at Frat Sports, football's back at school. I'm so excited.
Can crack a can, it's all good. Here to talk about the latest and greatest of what has been now 2 weeks into the NFL season, but really just this last week. We decided we're going to be focusing a lot on NFL-specific topics from week to week, sort of going over every game and what we thought of it and our impressions going forward, and then looking to the next week and the betting lines and something like that, and just talk about whatever we feel is relevant going ahead.
And we'll make sure to keep track of our picks, obviously, to show who's really right in most of the arguments, which I think we all know who it is.
Yeah, we definitely all know that I'm right in most of the arguments, and Charlie here has no idea what he's talking about.
We shall see. We will have proof.
Oh, we absolutely will. So, why don't you start us off, Charlie, my boy?
Oh, so much NFL to talk about. Our opener, Jets defeating the Bills 37-31. It was a solid game, although not too entertaining, two pretty mediocre teams. Anything else to say on that one? I don't have too much.
I mean, I think there's some long-term implications for the Bills here because they fired Greg Roman right after the game.
Right.
In a game where they scored 24 points, even though one of them on a non-offensive touchdown, It didn't really, at least to most people, and myself included, seem like the offense was the problem here.
Right, and there's definitely a long-term offensive problem when you got Tyrod Taylor playing quarterback, because it's just not a sustainable model.
He's at least a good placeholder, but the problems with them are on defense. I mean, how, as the Bills, do you have so much talent on that defense between the good secondary that you have with Stephon Gilmore and Ronald Darby? I mean, those are two solid corners. And then, I know that they lost Mary Williams, but they shouldn't be giving up 31 points to the Jets. No one can give up 31 points to the Jets and say that they had a good day.
Exactly. And that's the biggest issue, but it's not like you can, once you build your defense, the offense will be great and everything will fall into place. There's bigger problems here with this whole team. And I honestly think both of these teams don't have very bright prospects for the rest of the season.
Is there a chance that the Bills turn this around?
I don't think so. Not with that quarterback.
So then the Jets are going to have a good season then. Because they're the other team in that division.
The Patriots are winning that division.
Yeah, but can the Jets challenge for a playoff spot?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe in the shitty AFC.
They're 2-0, right?
They're 1-1.
They're 1-1. Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
But so they terrible. They shouldn't have fired Greg Roman, but whatever. What's the next game?
Next game, Steelers defeating the Bengals 24-16. Much juicier matchup here.
Well, the hype to this game was unreal. Everyone was talking about fisticuffs abound, or there were supposed to be, and really never happened.
Big Ben took a few big shots.
Well, there were some big hits, but not exactly the fisticuffs that you expect from a Steelers-Bengals matchup.
That's true.
Especially with the hits that we had last season with Burfson and Pac-Man Jones. But this game didn't feature any of that.
Well, because I think the Bengals are ultimately just overhyped as a dirty team, whereas it's just a few guys that they have, like Burfict, Pac-Man Jones, that are just kind of
You don't think
outliers.
They have a culture problem? You're just blaming it on the individuals?
No, it's definitely don't have a culture problem. I mean, when's the last time Andy Dalton hit somebody?
He's a quarterback. He's never going to hit anybody.
Okay, how scary is Marvin Jones? Like, the team, it doesn't have a culture problem. It's just some of these one-offs that, create this false sense of whatever on this team.
What they need to be creating is a sense of offense because they were totally anemic against Steelers. And how do you feel about Andy Dalton? Is Andy Dalton a top 10 NFL quarterback?
So a lot of people used to call Dalton in high school or in college the Red Rifle.
Yeah, the Red Rifle.
So one of my favorite sportscasters, Colin Cowherd, gave him a better name, in my opinion, called the Beige Water Pistol. Because I think that sums up Andy Dalton better than any name I could think of. He's an average quarterback. I think with this good Bengals team, with that solid defense, they've gotten pretty deep into the playoffs past couple years. So I think he could work for this team going into the future, but I think we know what we're getting with Andy Dalton. He's going to be average, but honestly, in this league, an average quarterback isn't the worst thing you can have. There's worse things that you can have.
But can the Bengals win anything of significance? Can they win a playoff game with Andy Dalton?
I think, yes, they can win a playoff game with Andy Dalton.
Unless they play a team that is so desperately worse, especially at quarterback. Like, they would need to run into a Houston Texan team with an injured quarterback, which I believe they already did, and they still lost. Or was that the one game that they won? I think he has one playoff win, and it's against a Houston Texan team.
I think you're right.
That the 9-7 team that was a 6th seed, and they had no quarterback, but J.J. Watt propelled them to victory, as he normally does.
Oh boy!
Just saying.
We've had that topic off air, and
we'll touch on that when we get to the Texans. What's the next game?
Well, I'll talk about the Steelers for a sec because I think this team is very scary. Obviously, the biggest question has always been Roethlisberger's health. You got to assume that he's going to miss at least a couple games, but if he and Antonio Brown can keep it going, if that defense can keep it up, that's a scary team, and I'm going to pick them to win that division.
That's not a bad pick. I mean, the division otherwise is pretty poor.
Ravens 2-0.
Are the Ravens 2-0?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Well, so then it's a Ravens-Steelers division, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Browns aren't going to do anything, so it's those 3 teams.
Man, I think it'll be all about that defense. I mean, the Steelers' defense has not been great in recent years, especially with a lot of the old stalwarts of that franchise kind of retiring or just leaving. You know, Lamar Woodley's already out of town.
Right. Ryan Shazier, though, that guy.
That defense makes me nervous.
Ryan Shazier is definitely a standout on that defense. He was flying all over the place in this game.
All right, we'll see. 2-0 right now. We'll see going forward. What's the next one?
Next game, very close to your heart. The Titans defeated the Lions 16-15.
Oh, this game was so tough to watch. Only because I'm not someone who will often say that the refs impacted a game because I think there are way too many plays in a game for any referee call to really have a significant impact.
Right.
But there was a play in that game where Eric Ebron caught a touchdown, and they called an offensive pass interference penalty on him when he didn't even touch the D-back, and that took 4 points off the board effectively. That is ultimately the difference in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel bad when I don't even feel like the Lions, we being the Lions, I don't think we necessarily played so bad as much as we just couldn't cash in.
Right.
You know, when you score 15 points but you're in the red zone like 3 or 4 times, that's kind of unacceptable, and it hurts because Stafford played an incredible game.
Yep.
He was on point that whole game, was making pinpoint passes, and it felt like no one could really make plays to win the game other than him.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing with this game. I think there's a huge silver lining for the Lions that Stafford looked great.
When the defense was all injured. I mean, we had only 2 healthy linebackers on the roster for the entire second half.
Right.
And the Titans somehow didn't take advantage of that by running the ball down our throats, but eventually you knew Mariota was going to take advantage. I knew early in the fourth quarter that Mariota would eventually lead them to a touchdown. I didn't know when, but I knew it would happen. So I knew that we needed to score more, and even though Stafford played a great game, there was a play about 3 minutes left, a fade down the sideline to Golden Tate that Stafford just missed.
Yeah.
And that was the game. And I saw it. I saw Golden Tate just miss it. I'm like, that was the game. Because Mariota will score a touchdown.
Right.
And we either get a desperate field goal or nothing.
I mean, it's hard to win with 15 points, first of all. But, again, I think with Stafford looking like he's improved off of last season, the NFC North is wide open.
But this Titans team is trash.
Yeah,
I feel so bad.
A loss against the Titans really hurts.
They're
and
trash.
Bad,
their offense is beautiful, but they're trash.
No, I agree. But I think the prospects for the Lions are pretty good.
Well, and it's weird because the Lions have played well out the gate, but I don't have any serious expectations for them, and I don't think anyone else does either.
Well, that's good.
Because, they are a team that is a year away from a serious run because they don't have the depth as their defense proved last game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Stafford is playing incredible. Ebron was surprisingly good and consistent, making big catches again and again. A lot of first downs for him. Marvin Jones is even a good pickup. They have pieces, but they're not together. And I'm someone who would rather win 4 games if you're not going to win the Super Bowl. If you're not going to win and compete, if you're not going to go deep into the playoffs, you might as well win as few games as you can. I'm really worried we'll get caught in that 8-8 range where we don't make the playoffs, but we'll have a really subpar pick and it'll be hard for us to improve.
As a Bears fan, I'm very used to that 8-8, 7-9 those seasons.
Oh, you're going to get better than that. You're going to get better than that this season, man. I was watching that Eagles game. Wow, that was disgusting. Yeah. We'll get to that.
We will get to that.
What's the next game?
Next game, the Ravens defeated the Browns 25-20. Again, not a whole lot of interesting things in this game. Cody Kessler will be the starter next week for the Browns.
Nice. I mean, this game essentially guaranteed that the Browns are getting a top 3 pick.
Well, I think it's a little early for that.
No, I don't. The Ravens aren't. I mean, they're a good team, but the Browns had a 20-point lead. If you give up a
20-point lead,
they had a 20-0 lead, and the Ravens scored 25 unanswered.
That's incredible. Yeah.
I mean, between that and the fact that they're already down to their 3rd quarterback in week 3, I don't think. I mean, they are a lock for a top 3 pick.
Well, I think I would agree. I think before the season started, I would have predicted that they would have gotten like a top 3 pick, but I don't think anything's changed on that end. Like I think they're
So then they will, because you said they won't.
yeah, no.
A minute ago.
I'm saying that I think nothing has changed as far as the Browns' prospects. I don't think they've gotten that much worse. I think they're
Are they a lock? Are they a lock for the number 1 overall pick?
Lock? Boy, it's hard. I mean,
I'll bet you a six-pack on that.
I guess looking through this set of teams, I can't find many teams worse than the Browns. Maybe the Saints are. Yeah, no, I do think they're going to be number 1.
Yeah. It's so undeniable that not even Charlie can argue with me about it.
It's kind of sad. I'm not going to lie.
We just all feel bad for Cleveland.
And I really just don't have much hope for Cody Kessler going into Sunday either. I think he's just going to get killed in the pocket, and
it's going to be rough. But that guy's weathered 3 head coaching changes in college. Once Josh Gordon comes back and they at least have something on the outside to work with, it might be a little better. But right now he's just like chucking bombs at Corey Coleman because that's all he can do with the line protection.
Right.
So, oh well.
All right.
What's next?
Another juicy division game. Cowboys defeated the Redskins 27-23. Dak Prescott for President of the United States.
Oh
I think
God, the hype's a little too real, isn't it?
The hype is very big. I think it's just because it's the Cowboys. If it was any other team, it wouldn't be that real.
Is he legit?
I really like Dak. I watched most of this game.
Question.
I think of the young crop of quarterbacks that we have right now, like Wentz, Mariota, you can throw Kirk Cousins in there, Jameis Winston. I think he is.
Kirk Cousins is too old to be young.
All right, fine. Take him out. Take him out. Like maybe you could say Jared Goff. I think he is going to be in the upper echelon of that group going forward. I think he's got a huge build. He's like 240, 250. Sees the field very well. You know, he's making very accurate throws. Like he was doing well. He had a nice running game behind him, which definitely supported him. But I really like his prospects going forward.
But the real question is he legit?
Okay, what do you mean legit?
Is he legit? Is he for real?
Yeah, I think he's for real.
Are they going to try to win a Super Bowl?
I think he can be a franchise quarterback.
Can he make a deep playoff run? Or is he Andy Dalton?
Well, I think eventually he can. I think he's a franchise quarterback going forward.
You think he's a franchise quarterback going forward? Man, I think if you make Dak Prescott your franchise quarterback, you might be going a little astray. I'll be honest. You know who this reminds me of? You actually just mentioned him a couple times. Kirk Cousins. You remember when Kirk Cousins,
you can't say anything about Kirk Cousins
a season ago, was like torching like every team he played?
The jury's still out on Kirk Cousins.
But I don't know if I feel like Kirk Cousins can't have a team on his back. Yes, but okay, so he's a little bit more athletic, but I don't think that the sample size is so small where I am absolutely not a believer.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think there's a difference between having the jury still be out on him and already being not a believer. Because I think you saying you're not a believer, you've already made a decision about him. Like, are you saying that you want to see a few more games?
I need to see at least a full season. But here's the question: is when Tony Romo comes back, because you know Tony Romo's coming back
eventually.
Let's call it week 10. Week 10, Tony Romo comes back. The Cowboys are 1-1 right now. Let's say they're 6-4.
Yeah,
they're like 5-5, 5-5, 6-4. Do you start Tony Romo or Dak Prescott?
I'm gonna start Tony Romo.
Ooh, I'd actually start Dak.
Well, and I think it depends on how they're doing. Like if they get
let's say above average but not great. Whatever is the tough decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'd have to go Tony Romo.
No, you got to play Dak because you don't have any chance with Tony Romo.
What? Why?
Because he is washed up and will get injured whenever you play.
Most underrated quarterback of all time.
Oh
Tony
no,
Romo.
He can't really play sustainably anymore.
So
when's the last time the dude's lasted longer than 3 games?
All right, so then you can put him out there as a starter and just know if he gets hurt, you got a solid backup behind him. I mean, Dak. But if he's starting, Dak can go back now. He's backing up Tony Romo. He's got some game experience, so maybe he can learn even more and kind of relate more to what Tony's seeing on the field. I think it'd be good for him to have a learning environment like that.
I know
especially if they make the playoffs.
I know I said I'm not a believer in Dak, but I feel like the Cowboys aren't going to make a deep, serious playoff run this year, and everybody knows it. So you should just commit right now to start Dak Prescott and see if he's a real deal. Start him 16 games. Well, They're not winning anything.
I think there's 2 schools of thought on that. There's one where it's like, yeah, you might as well start him, get him some experience, so then he can be better in the future. But there's also the school of thought where you want to just
That's the successful school of thought.
Okay, well, not necessarily. There's a school of thought where if you sit him for a few years, get him some experience as a backup, learn from the starter, then he'll be more prepared once he actually comes out.
But he clearly doesn't.
How many times have we seen?
One, he clearly doesn't need to do that because he can at least play well enough where it's time to learn on the fly. When you're 22
he's
of
got
30,
an incredible running game right now.
But now it's time for him to learn on the fly in games. Like he's playing well enough.
Why do you say that?
Because it's clear that you don't need to hide him. He's not so bad. Like I'm not going to say he's going to be a great quarterback, but he's clearly not so bad where you can still run an offense. He's not Case Keenum. He's not T.J. Yates. He's not someone that is a liability. But you don't know if he can be one of your workhorses, and that's what they need to figure out. And the only way you can figure out if someone can be a workhorse is you put him through the grind. And if you are going to start Tony Romo in Week 10, he won't see the grind for another whole year. So you won't really know how he will play after a long season that has fatigued him, a long season of hits, a long season of having to play when you're worn out and you're pretty much injured, but once you're in the playoffs, everybody's pretty much injured, you're all playing hurt. So that's the important stuff, and if you start Tony Romo for symbolic reasons, when you know you're not going to win anything, you're wasting an opportunity.
It's not symbolic reasons, Are you
going to win a Super Bowl?
No, it'd be if you think that that's what's best for Dak, ultimately. As if throwing him into the fray in a playoff game. How many times have we seen a quarterback get thrown into the mix way too early, and then that just destroys his career?
Well, sure, but usually that is when they are struggling, and that is when they have to fight through struggle. He's not struggling right now.
Yeah, so I think I do think
this is again assuming he plays above average.
Yeah, so it all depends on how he's playing. So if they're way below 500, if they go 3-7, and then Tony Romo's back,
yeah, well then you play, yeah.
But if he's 7-3, then yeah, I'll stick with him because he gives.
Okay, so if you said, so what's the win loss for you on that?
I'll go 7-3 in both.
7-3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down. So if the Cowboys are 7,
I'm not saying they're gonna do that. I'm just saying if they're 7-3 with Dak, then yeah, he's ready.
I'm gonna put that in the memory bank for later.
He just his stats for that game. He was 22 for 30 with no picks. So we're in agreement that he has ultimately had a great showing. But you're saying he has to prove himself a little bit more. I'm already convinced.
That's fair. What do you think about Dez Bryant and Josh Norman? Who do you think is more important to their team?
Probably Dez.
Really? Oh, I think the Redskins need Josh Norman right now more than ever.
Wait, so you're saying who is more important to their respective team?
Yeah, or just like what do you? They have a friendship on rival teams, and they hang out with each other, and they have to cover each other. So who's going to get the better of this?
I ultimately think an impact receiver is more valuable than an impact corner. So I think
Revis is pretty impactful.
How's he been the last few games?
Here's a good question: Is Josh Norman a top 5 corner?
He's definitely overhyped just with all the feuds he's in, and for some reason he's in the media all the time.
So is he the best corner in the league?
No.
Who's better than Josh Norman?
I'd say Richard Sherman.
Anyone else? Because I'll take if he's top 2. That's a game changer.
Yeah, I'd say he's not off the top of my head. I can't think of any, but I'd say he's at least top 5.
I feel like I can think of.
But I also think Dez is top 5.
You think Dez is a top 5 receiver?
Yeah,
oh no way.
Talent-wise, yeah.
No, well, first of all, you have to take the full package, which is also the fact that he's injury prone, the fact that he is an unreliable presence
give me your
in the
top
locker.
5 receivers.
Oh, so DeAndre Hopkins
is 1.
Antonio Brown,
okay.
Odell Beckham Jr., Allen Robinson, who's better than Dez Bryant, and who's number 5? AJ Green. There you go. 5 receivers better.
Well, I think AJ Green's at least 2. I think AJ Green actually.
That wasn't a power ranking. That was just 5 receivers.
That was just, all right,
yeah, it was just 5 in any order.
All right. Well, yeah, I think we'd have to do more.
No, he's not. Am I wrong?
Well, I don't have the stats in front of me. Obviously, I think Dez.
The only one.
All right.
Right now.
That's top 5.
He's 6 though. Allen Robinson's better. Did you have hierarchies are everything in sports?
Jesus, I still don't know. What's the point of that question in asking Dez versus Josh Norman?
I don't know. I just think they're two very volatile characters. Will pretty much determine whether or not the Cowboys and Redskins are good. Because the Redskins' defense has to rely on Norman.
Dak are going to determine who wins that division, who outplays who.
But Kirk Cousins threw for almost 350. Need a defense that they can rely on, and the only way they can do that is if they can rely on Josh Norman to cover great receivers.
The kind of one impact guy on that defense. I think both
Not to mention the Eagles are 2-0. Aren't the Giants?
No.
Oh boy. So really, Kirk Cousins and Dak might not matter Because the Redskins are 0-2.
I'm not sure on that. But anyway,
he needs to start. He needs to start winning games. Anyways, what's next?
Next game, Giants defeat Saints 16-13. Anything to say on that?
What a weird game. How did Drew Brees not score more than 13 points?
Yeah, well, especially
I didn't watch this, but how did that happen?
With that god-awful defense, I mean, you need to score at least 20 to be able to win.
Exactly. And the Giants didn't score an offensive touchdown and beat a team that was quarterbacked by Drew Brees.
Is he on the decline?
Drew Brees is on the decline.
How far in the decline? How many more years does he have, you think?
I mean, as many years as the Saints cannot get better quarterbacks, I feel like. Because, I mean, the thing about the quarterback, he's good enough to keep playing right now.
Right.
This is what the Saints should be doing, since they're also going to be terrible. Not number one overall terrible, but they'll be terrible.
Pretty terrible.
So
they could be number one overall.
They need to create a team right now so that when they finally need to replace Brees in 4 years, that the rest of the team will already be built.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what they need to do.
Right. Well, yeah, and just on the Giants side, too, I think I like them to win that division, honestly. That receiving core is just
no way
unreal.
No way.
Who do you like, the Eagles? Cowboys?
Man, I really thought the Cowboys were going to win this division going into the year. I thought the Giants were going to be one of, like, the five worst teams in football.
So you thought the Cowboys were going to win until Romo went down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they were going to win at, like, 10-6 and lose their first playoff game. But, man, I haven't even thought about this. The Giants might win that division with that awful... But that defense is too bad. The Giants don't score 25. Like,
yeah,
they
but
don't.
All the defenses in this division are bad. All of them.
But the Eagles probably have the best defense in that division. They showed it tonight.
Right. And they have Carson Wentz at quarterback. Carson Wentz is not winning that division.
Oh, Carson Wentz could absolutely win that division.
He's not winning.
He's already won 4 national titles.
Yeah, FCS.
He's been the most important player.
He was giving a national title when it's not even D1 football.
It's
not
first
even
of all,
FBS football.
Yes, but
I understand.
It is D1 football. Notice that.
This guy went to North Dakota State, and you're trying to give me national. Oh my goodness.
Hey, Joe Flacco went to Delaware. Dude's got a ring.
All right, but that's not. You can't bring that up as proof of why he's going to win at the NFL level.
But you can't discount.
FCS.
You can't discount that he's a winner.
All right,
Dude wins games. All
right, I'm not going to argue semantics.
He's got a long record of clutch plays. I think I'll take the Eagles in that division. You want to take the Giants right now?
I'll take the Giants, yeah.
I'll take the Eagles. Oh, right. I'm so happy with this pick. Carson Wentz is going to win that division.
No,
I'm happy.
You know he's going to have a bad game or two, and then we'll see how he responds. But it should be interesting.
He's got a good team.
That's an interesting division.
Let's move on.
Panthers defeated the 49ers 46-27.
Oh, God. Ugly game. Cam Newton's the best.
Yeah, Panthers are really good. 49ers are really bad.
Move on.
Yeah. Patriots defeated the Dolphins 31-24. Jimmy G has looked amazing.
So you asked me this question earlier, and I want to address it because I think you asked the right question but on the wrong team.
Okay.
So you ask the question again for the lovely people at home.
Are you talking about the
Brady question?
The Brady Bledsoe?
Yeah.
All right. So, if could Jimmy Garoppolo pull a Brady to what Brady did to Bledsoe once Brady comes back? So if Garoppolo goes, I guess he's not going to go 4-0 now because he got hurt.
For those not as familiar with Tom Brady's history, what happened is Drew Bledsoe was an established veteran on a Patriots team, and Tom Brady was a rookie who was drafted in the 6th round and no one really knew anything about. Bledsoe goes down with an injury, Brady comes in and plays great and commands the team and plays like he's wise beyond his years, and Drew Bledsoe never starts another game for the Patriots. Whereas, normally, when a veteran is injured, he gets his job when he comes back really no matter what, no matter how good the rookie plays. And
similar to Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. Similar dynamic.
No, not at all. Completely different.
Well, I mean...
Because they were never on they were never on the team at the same time. Completely different.
All right, well, it's the choosing the younger potential quarterback.
You know what it's really like? It's like Dak and Tony Romo.
Yeah, right.
It's exactly like Dak is going to Tom Brady Tony Romo. That's what's going to happen.
We shall see. Yeah, that could definitely happen.
I think if the Cowboys want to be a winning franchise,
but was Drew Bledsoe like that injury prone when Brady replaced him?
He got injured. He was injured once. Does it matter?
Yeah, well, I think
it's the only injury that mattered.
I mean, Romo's broken his collarbone like 4 or 5 times now. I mean, clearly he can't play like a full season anymore. The likelihood of that is very small. So I think it's a little different situation.
But so you want to know if Jimmy G will Brady?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I think I agree with you there.
Brady's still the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, Brady. I mean, he's just like he's so health conscious. Like he wants to play till he's like 45.
Yeah, he's still got 3 or 4
it.
years. Yeah, no, there's no way. So that's. But
so
Jimmy
Garoppolo's
injured.
Do they trade Jimmy Garoppolo then after the season?
That's a good question.
Because his contract is up in 2017.
I think they don't. I've liked what I've seen from Garoppolo lately, and especially the thing about him is not only is he poised, but he's got a different array of tools. And Belichick's one of those coaches where just give him tools, and he'll figure out how to use them.
Right.
And when you're a versatile player like Garoppolo, hey, do it. And they can let him sit for 2 or 3 years. It's not like Garoppolo is
his
so
contract's
amazing.
Up in 2017.
Yeah. Well,
so you got to make a decision pretty much this year.
Ooh.
So do you want to get the max value for him? Honestly, if you're going to go with Brady, you got to trade him this year.
Wow.
And you're going to get some good pieces.
You're so right.
Yeah. So that's the kicker.
I think you trade him then. I feel like you definitely trade him.
I think you have to trade him because there's no way you could just like cut Brady and then go.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's just not going to happen.
And you're right. He's wasting. Yeah, you're right. You got to trade him. Good call, Trey. You got to trade him.
Got to trade him.
All right.
As hard as that's going to be.
Other than that, Miami's a terrible team.
Do you think Garoppolo's going to be a franchise quarterback somewhere?
I mean, he could be.
Because it's hard to tell. Like, when you're in the Patriots system, you're obviously going to look better than you are in a Browns system, for instance.
Yeah. Well,
so
we'll talk about
it'll
that.
Be interesting to see.
We'll talk about that going forward.
Yeah.
No one wants to talk about the Dolphins, so we won't talk about that.
All right. Thank
God. What's the next one?
Thank God. The Texans defeated the Chiefs 19-12. A lot of low-scoring games this week.
Yeah, defenses were out there this week.
Yeah, I think the Texans are in a commanding position for that division.
This was a very surprising game. I don't know what to make of it.
How is it surprising?
Well, first of all, the score is 19-12. Isn't that just kind of weird? This is a football.
Just wait till you get the next score.
This game counts in sevens. That what? 19-12?
Yeah, so that just a crap ton of field goals or something.
And like the Chiefs didn't even turn the ball over very much. They just couldn't get anything going on offense. I mean, Alex Smith averaged 5 yards of completion. They still don't have Jamal Charles back. I know the offense. I mean, man, I don't really know who's going to win that AFC West division. But if the Chiefs are going to do it, they can't be giving away silly games like that.
AFC West. I mean, I thought the Broncos were going to have a big drop off this year, but somehow they're 2-0, and they honestly look like they're in a commanding position to win that division.
We'll talk about them, but Simeon hasn't played bad.
Yeah, right, which is very surprising. Anything else in that game?
Not really.
Yeah, agreed. All right, the Rams defeated the Seahawks 9-3 in a Super Bowl I throwback. As far as scoring goes,
if it's a Super Bowl I throwback, I feel like it's not even worth mentioning. But all right.
Well, yeah, no, we got to talk about the Seahawks. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl just what 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but like, damn, 3 points in an entire game.
Well, so Russell Wilson's not a great quarterback.
You're a Russell Wilson fan. He is not a great
I'm just going to say this.
He's in the top third of quarterbacks.
I don't think he is. His team just scored 3 points, dude. I think I can name you 10 quarterbacks better than Russell Wilson.
Points, and it's hard for me to swallow.
I think I can name, like, I don't think that he's a good game manager, but he might crack the top 10, but he is, like, he's 10.
I wouldn't call him a game manager just because he can create so much with like.
But his athleticism isn't transcendent. He can extend the play. But he's Alex Smith.
You're not going
to
like
Alex
this
Smith.
He's a very poor man's Aaron Rodgers, where he
doesn't. So he's Alex Smith.
He doesn't have nearly the.
Who's better, Alex Smith or Russell Wilson?
Doesn't create outside the pocket that much.
Yes, he does.
No, he's not as he's not nearly as mobile as Russell Wilson.
Oh, the 49ers will beg to differ. I mean, Alex Smith is always.
I mean, no.
Alex Smith just scored a rushing touchdown to win their first game.
All right, a rushing touchdown is different from creating plays
outside on a speed option.
All right, no, I'm talking about more like when you get outside the pocket and then you look down the field and you pass down the field. That's honestly Russell Wilson's bread and butter, and obviously
it's like the only thing he offers.
Well, right, and so he probably relies on that too much. And that's what I'm saying. Aaron Rodgers has the pocket game to go along with that. So that's the only comparison I can think of.
So he has the quarterback part of the back. Russell Wilson like a back because he can run.
Well, no, because he throws outside the pocket.
But he can't throw inside the pocket.
Calling him a game manager is not the right label because he's definitely a playmaker.
I'll call him average.
No, I think he's above average. I'll call him above average. He's
like
not great. He's above
barely above average.
All right, he's above average.
I'll give barely above average. Because above average implies that he'll Matt Ryan's a better quarterback than Russell Wilson. Who's better, Matt Ryan or Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson.
No way.
Well, Matt Ryan's teams have been horrible.
But Matt Ryan is a better quarterback.
I mean, he's had weapons. Why can't they win?
Because their defense... No. As a quarterback only, who do you trust to score more points, Matt Ryan or Russell Wilson?
To score more points.
For your offense?
I'm going to take Russell Wilson.
Oh, man.
Matt Ryan's more of a game manager than Russell Wilson is.
No way.
Yeah, of course.
And Matt Ryan can throw the ball around the field. Russell Wilson can't do that.
What's the substance for your argument here?
The fact that...
The Falcons have just been god-awful.
I mean, I'll look at Matt Ryan's stats.
I mean, Russell, he went to 2 Super Bowls.
On the back of one of the best defenses in NFL history.
All right.
He's Trent Dilfer at that point.
MVP? He's not Trent Dilfer. Are you kidding me? He has an MVP, doesn't he?
Who?
I think you're a Super Bowl MVP.
Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
Does not.
He's a NFC MVP.
He has 1 ring, right?
Yes.
And Malcolm Butler,
2 Super Bowl
Malcolm Smith, the USC linebacker, won the MVP for that.
He did. He won the Super Bowl MVP. I thought Russell Wilson had a regular season MVP. But,
all right, you want to hear Matt Ryan's career stats?
Yeah, I do.
207 touchdowns, 108 interceptions.
All right, well, okay, so you're giving me long-term stats, which you can't compare because he's been in the league longer.
All right, that's fair. Let's look at...
Give me ratios or something.
So, a 2-to-1 touchdown-interception ratio.
All right. And ultimately...
Damn, that doesn't work for my argument at all. Crap.
Oh, man.
All right, Russell Wilson might be as good as Matt Ryan.
Substance falls out. I mean,
it really did.
All substance you need. Seahawks have been great. Falcons have been shitty.
That's fair. Yeah.
3 points. Step it up, Seahawks.
Matt Ryan, get a better turnover ratio, Matt Ryan.
I'll make up my mind about the Seahawks in next week or maybe in a few weeks, but that's going to be a hard one to swallow.
But here's all right, I'll ask one last question for Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Because I love asking questions for Russell Wilson. Is he a franchise quarterback?
Yes.
In the Seahawks,
if you're the
Seahawks, would you trade for Dak Prescott?
Just 1-1?
Would you trade Russell Wilson for Dak Prescott? Heads up right now.
No.
Really? Oh,
dude,
man. Wouldn't that be the most interesting trade?
Dak's too unproven. I mean,
that's true, but
you can't trade away a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah, you're right.
For unproven. I mean,
but
Dak. I like Dak a lot.
But he's played better than Russell Wilson this year by a lot.
Better. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the Brady Garoppolo thing. Are you going to take like 5 more years of good production, or the potential of 12 years of great production? So.
Is there anything interesting to talk about with the Rams? Except that they somehow managed to beat the Seahawks again.
Yeah, right.
How did this happen?
They go from 0 points. Okay, so their offense is terrible. I think we have that established. They have a total of 9 points. They scored
more points on the Seahawks than they did on the 49ers.
They have a total of 9 points through 2 games. That's just got to be the most ridiculous NFL stat we have.
I can't believe it.
But yeah, did you watch Hard Knocks at all?
I didn't at all.
It was good, but boy, they just.
I heard that it made a bland team even more unlikable.
There are a lot of unlikable guys on that team, including Jeff Fisher. But yeah,
Should the Rams fire Jeff Fisher? Should they just get it over with now?
Right now,
or this year? Should they are they going to? Are they going to?
They're going to.
Yeah,
it's
pretty obvious.
They're going to.
All right, let's move on.
All right, the Cardinals defeated the Buccaneers 40-7. It's a convincing win for the Cards, obviously.
Yeah.
They've had some good teams in the past few years. Definitely a contender to win that division.
I figured the game would be closer, but it doesn't
bug
me. It doesn't bug me that the Bucs got blown out.
No, I like Jameis a lot too. Obviously, he needs better pieces around him, but I think Cardinals have good prospects this year. Bucs maybe not so much, but for the future, I think Jameis is a real deal.
Yeah. Oh well. All right, we're running short on time, so let's try to speed through.
All right, let's do speed round.
Chargers, Jags.
Yeah. So my comments for this was meh. So if you have anything more than that,
it's meh. God, what a game between two of the most uninteresting teams in the NFL. Yeah, the only thing that would have made it interesting if the Jags were more competitive. They came into this season with a lot of hype. Are they 0-2? They're 0-2 now.
They are 1-1.
They're 1-1. Who did they beat week 1?
I don't know. Or no, they are 0-2.
Because they played the Packers week 1. They just barely played well against the Packers, but just barely lost to a team that just lost to a Teddy Bridgewater-less Vikings team. So you have no good on the Packers.
Interesting thing about we'll get to next week's pick soon, but the Ravens and Jaguars are even for that game as far as the line goes.
Wow. All right, we gotta get to these future picks.
All right,
Falcons, Raiders.
Yeah, Falcons won somehow, so there you go.
Somehow they win sometimes.
Yeah,
Matt Ryan played great that game, man.
Yeah, they scored some points for once. what do you think the Raiders are going to do this season? Are you on the bandwagon?
I think they are one of the most overhyped teams in the league. I am
Agreed.
not on the Raiders bandwagon yet.
Yeah.
They're 2 years away, and
They're so overhyped.
They need the Broncos to get worse first. What that'll require DeMarcus Ware being out of the picture, whether it be retirement or leaving. And they need the rest of that Super Bowl core to really just unravel.
Which will happen soon.
I mean, you can't keep Von Miller, Demaryius Thomas, Aqib Talib, Chris Harris, all of these talented guys on one roster for like an extended period of time.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
So I think in 2 years, maybe next year, but really 2 years, when the Raiders like build the depth of that defense up, then they're going to be good. But it's not happening this year, and everyone thinks it is. They're just jumping the gun.
Right. All right, Broncos feed the Colts 34-20.
Expected.
Where the hell did the Broncos come from? I mean,
Andrew Luck's 0-2 again.
He's 0-2, but his team is just terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not selling Andrew Luck stock at all because I think none of this is on him. He's got no running game. He's got no defense. T.Y. Hilton is his best receiver, and Chuck Pagano is incompetent. So other than that, his team is great, but this Colts team
fire Chuck Pagano after he comes back from cancer?
This is the thing. Everybody loves Chuck Pagano as a guy, but the most telling thing about Chuck Pagano as a coach is when Indianapolis I saw an Indy Star article today. You'd think that they would just be in love with him, and the media would just be in love with him. There was an article today that said fire Chuck Pagano because he can't coach. I mean, great. Like there's some guys that are they're great guys, but they can't coach.
Surviving cancer only gets you 1 year in the NFL.
Exactly.
It gets you 1 year. That's it.
Yeah. No. So he'll definitely be gone after this season. We'll see how many games he makes it through. And then finally,
Vikings Packers. We could talk about this one.
So we said Dak for president. I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna make Sam Bradford the next
president. Oh God,
of the United States.
No. He plays one good game.
Okay, he's got 2 weeks of practice. He learned the playbook like on a plane or something. I mean, how can you not give Sam Bradford credit for this win?
Because they only scored 17 points total. I'll give the defense credit for that win. I'll give him a little.
Did you watch this game? I
watched a little bit of it.
Sam Bradford played an amazing game.
He played pretty well.
Given the circumstances. I mean, everybody's just railing on him for being a stupid trade.
I'll give you the circuit. Hey, Sam Bradford had a heroic performance with Adrian Peterson going down. The Vikings managed only 30 yards on the ground and won a game against the Packers. That is great, but I don't think Stephon Diggs is going to go for 182 every game. And I don't think that the Vikings have the playmakers on offense that Sam Bradford can rely on specifically. The real question is, are the Packers a bad team this year?
Well, here's the thing. That was my next point. If the Vikings can win this division and go to the playoffs, this is an amazing trade for them.
I don't think so. Because I don't think they'll win a playoff game. I don't think that Bradford will be able to... He might get lucky and win one against an incompetent NFC opponent that just scrapes into the playoffs. They will not reach the conference championship game with Sam Bradford.
I agree with you there, but I think
why? It's a first-round pick.
It's winning the division. I mean, the Vikings haven't won this division. They won it with Brett Favre.
I would never give a first-round pick to win a division. And I'm a Lions fan.
You overhyped the first-round pick. I mean, the success rate...
It's just worth a lot. But it's valuable. It's an asset.
It's not worth... Yeah, it's not worth just not making the playoffs or throwing a season for. Unless you have
you're not throwing a season for it.
You are. This is what you're implying.
They're not throwing a season for anything.
You want them to tank.
I don't think they should have made the Sam Bradford trade because I don't think his difference over other options was worth a first-round pick. First of all, they could have waited out the market.
Going to the playoffs.
They could have waited out the market and grabbed someone for half the price who would give them about marginally equal quarterback
play. Who is
play.
giving you that game that Sam Bradford gave you against the Packers?
He got lucky one game.
Lucky?
Look at the rest of his career. Wait, let's look at the rest of his career.
He's got hurt a bunch of times.
And he's also been anemic when last year with the Eagles, he wasn't hurt. And he played not well.
Okay, but
the Eagles went nowhere.
The key point here is he was on this team for 2 weeks, and this is on short notice.
Dude,
learning the playbook.
Matt Flynn broke a Green Bay Packers franchise record in the only game he started against the Lions, Week 18, 4 years ago.
I never heard about this.
So, hey, look it up. Matt Flynn breaks Packers record. He started one game for them and played an almost perfect game against the Detroit Lions, naturally. He threw for like 4 or 5 touchdowns, no picks. And you know who signed him the next year? The Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
They gave him a 2-year contract worth like $40 million or something. You know who started for the Seahawks the next season? Russell Wilson.
Right.
Because when a backup, backup like Sam Bradford deserves to be, like when a career backup has one great game, you don't bet all the chips on him.
I think Sam Bradford is a starting quarterback on a below average team.
Then how is it worth a first-round pick?
Because he's going to take him to the playoffs, potentially.
Maybe. They're only 2-0.
Yeah, but that division's wide open.
But that's assuming that Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, who have won that division, almost a decade in a row, don't figure it out. Which, they have enough talent where I feel like they can figure it out. They're going to win 10.
Those guys are hotheads. They're definitely going to...
The Packers, they're going to win 10. I don't necessarily think that a first-round pick for Sam Bradford is worth... You might not even win 11, but even if you do, is the one division crown and a first-round playoff exit worth that much? Ask the Bengals. Ask the Bengals if winning a division is worth it.
I think a lot of Vikings fans would say yes, honestly.
I hope.
If you're a perpetual bottom feeder in that division, I think a lot of frankly, I think a lot of Lions fans would say yes, too.
No. As a Lions fan, I say no.
Well, I know you wouldn't, but I think you're in the minority there.
But I want to win championships, and you don't sell... The issue also isn't just that you're winning the division. Winning the division is great. I love winning the division, but it's giving up the most valuable building block you have in the offseason. Whether or not how much you value your first round pick, you have to say that it is more valuable than all the other picks you have.
Right.
So you're giving up your most valuable asset in this offseason for success in this season. I can't see how that makes sense unless you have a shot to win it all.
But you're also implying that the one thing you're giving up is going to equate to that much success that you're having.
No, it's just your most valuable. You just have to think it's your most valuable asset, even if you end up trading the pick. But you could trade that pick, like Bill Belichick loves to, for 4 or 5 more picks.
Right.
And having assets is important to the continuing success of a business. And when you mortgage your future, you need to do it for something that is really valuable.
Right.
And I don't know if a division crown's that valuable.
Okay, so I think the difference is that we disagree on the value of a first-round pick and what winning a division means.
What do you think the value of a first-round pick is?
I mean, I think it's very up in the air. Again, we compare it to the NBA, where it's not nearly what it is in the NBA.
The NBA drafted us 2 rounds and 5 players on a team. Yeah.
All right, but there's more talent in the first round. There should be more talent
first
in the
round
first
is
round
at more
of
Hall of
NFL.
Fame. The NFL first round is at more Hall of Famers than any other round, and it ain't even close. How about that?
Well, right, but if you're saying... what we were saying before, off air, that if you look at NFL Hall of Famers compared to the first and second rounds versus the NBA Hall of Famers first and second rounds.
But the NFL has 53 players on a roster.
Why should that matter?
Because there's 53 players on a roster.
Yeah, but there's more Hall of Fame spots, too.
But understand that, for example, in the NFL, you not only need to build a 22-man starting lineup, but you need all of those positions to be 2 people deep. So the NFL is about accumulating just assets. And it's about, like, the wins above replacement, which is a stat popularized in baseball, is very low in the NFL except at the quarterback position.
Right.
Like, unless you're, like, one of the top 3 players at a position, your replacement isn't going to be, like, horribly worse than you.
Right.
Whereas in the NBA, it's the wins, like, the difference between starters and bench players is tremendous.
Well, especially at the very top level.
But so, of course, top-round talent is worth more in a sport where the drop-off is so much bigger.
Right.
But in the NFL, all you need to do is, the name of the game is just accumulating assets, because you just need the most players to step up. And when you give away a first-round pick, you're either giving away 1 good player, or you're giving away 5 players that you trade for. Or you're giving away your flexibility to trade up for maybe that quarterback that you need to gain that advantage. But, like, you give away so much of your flexibility when you give away your most important asset.
Right. Well, we shall see how that pans out. Let's move on to our picks for next week.
Future games.
So, obviously...
You want to write these down, or should I?
I'll write it down.
All right.
Trust me, I'll make sure these are accurate.
Oh, we're gonna track these. All right, so I'll talk them off. Texans at Patriots.
Texans 2.5-point favorites. Somehow.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, how is not everyone should be betting the line on that?
Right.
Even with Brissett at quarterback, I'm sure can be
Belichick
serviceable.
will figure out how to use him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll take the Patriots all
They
day.
only scored 19 points. Like, the Texans haven't shown me that much.
Yeah.
I know that J.J. Watt will be rushing the quarterback, but even if he gets 2 sacks, I think the Patriots win. The real question here is, in the AFC South, which is the Texans, the Colts, the Jaguars, and
Titans.
the Titans, who wins that division?
Texans.
That's just gross. The Texans.
Yeah, boy, that is just...
Does anyone have a win in that division other than the Texans?
Titans have won against the Lions.
Oh, shit. God.
Yeah, so the Texans are going to take that.
Wow,
division.
that's such a bad division.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I really hope Andrew Luck can make a comeback in that division, man.
I mean, it's not on him. It's just that they can just give him something to work with.
Man.
All right, next game, Bears at Cowboys, Dallas -4.5. Who you got?
So are we picking winners or are we picking with the line? It's important
Let's
clarification.
pick with the line.
I'll pick with the line?
Yeah.
All right, I'll pick with the line. So Dallas is giving 4.5 or
Mhm.
getting 4.5?
Giving.
They're giving. Ooh, I'll take Dallas.
I'll take Dallas.
Oh man, you're a Bears. Oh no,
Dude, what
Oh,
reason would I
no!
have to be optimistic about the Bears?
Did you see Jay Cutler tonight?
I did.
He just doesn't care.
Dude, he got outclassed by Carson Wentz. I mean,
oh man,
Carson Wentz looks so much better.
dude, it was so bad.
It's hard to
He
watch.
threw one pick right into Brandon Graham's hands. Oh man, it was so
I saw
bad.
that. Yeah, that was really bad. And Carson Wentz, by the way, looks. We didn't talk about this game at all, but he looks really good. I mean,
He
he
does.
played an awesome game. There were a couple throws he made through contact that was
We'll talk.
really impressive.
What's the path forward for the Bears?
I mean, other than blow it up, get it. I mean, honestly, it starts at the top. Like, we need new ownership. And that's when you know you have a real problem with the franchise, is when the ownership is bad. Like, that's what we have with the Bulls right now, too. Jerry Reinsdorf. So until that changes, I think the Bears are going to be mediocre for the near future.
Dang, unfortunate. If you have a top pick, do you want to draft a quarterback?
Yeah, why not?
Which college quarterback do you want the most?
Well, it's Sean Watson.
You want Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who do you want?
I really,
Sean
I mean,
Hill?
I don't want I don't want a quarterback. I have Matt Stafford. I have been so encouraged by what I've seen from Matt Stafford so far through 2 games. Just because
So if you were in the Bears position, though, who would you want to take over Sean?
I
Watson?
would probably take Deshaun. He's probably the best NFL ready quarterback.
Mhm.
Are there any other? I mean, top teams? JT Barrett.
Chad Kelly.
Nah, Chad Kelly. Nah,
I mean, who else is there?
it's probably Deshaun Watson. Yeah, you're right. So, anyways,
All right. Next game. God, these are so easy.
Yeah.
Why are these lines so easy?
well, so we're gonna come back next week and get all the picks wrong, huh?
Yeah. So,
Okay,
Raiders at Titans. Tennessee -1.5.
I'll take the.
The overhyped Raiders team. I'll go Titans.
But the Titans are just bad. They're like they. At least the
Man,
Raiders are kind.
They just came off. They're coming off a win.
Man, they had an ugly win. God, do you
I
see
like
that last play?
Mariota.
Live.
Well, we'll see. Then we got Browns at Dolphins.
Oh my God. Do the Dolphins
10
have
points? Can the Dolphins cover a 10-point spread?
Yeah, I don't even know if shit is here.
This is so hard.
This is really. Oh, I'm gonna take the Browns. I'll take the points. Got us through bullshit.
What? All right. Yeah. Take your final pick, which
Yeah.
makes me even more confident.
All right, Ravens at Jags.
Yeah,
Pick 'em.
Ravens, Jags.
They're not that good. You have Jacksonville came into the season with a lot of hype, but Blake Bortles now has some of the targets. He needs to figure out how to use them, of course, but he has the targets. The line's not on that team where it's a game at Jacksonville, and I have faith. I think Flacco's going to play very good.
I just think these teams are probably pretty close talent-wise. They don't really have any experience anywhere, so purely
They
because
got
of
to win
that.
eventually, though. For one, thank God.
All right, speaking of Lions at Packers, Green Bay -7.5.
Oh, Lions, easily.
Yeah, I'll go Lions.
Yeah.
That's way too big of a line.
Yeah, and like, oh,
7.5?
hmm.
No, I'm not taking 7.5.
Yeah, they'll keep it within 7. Line. That whole game will be determined by whether or not we can pressure Rodgers. But he's played like crap,
Right.
so I have faith.
But people are really fed up with Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about this.
Right. Yeah. No.
He's still the man.
His like kind of strong-willed nature, and just like he just doesn't get along with many people.
Like Coward, or from
From
like
various sports talk shows.
various sources.
Yeah.
One of them Colin Coward.
One of them was Cincy -3.5.
What's your pick?
I'm gonna go with
Simeon's played great.
at Bengals. Nah, I'm gonna go Bengals with that one.
I mean,
They have Trevor Simeon at quarterback.
they just don't ask him to do very much.
Right, but he's output in the NFL.
And he's throwing for 200 yards. That's all you need.
Yeah, he's
They
not.
have the
He's not going to
best-
keep that up. No, he's not. He's not going to keep that production.
He needs to throw at a 65% clip, like 200 yards a game, which is exactly what he's done. And he has whoever they're starting at tight end now. I mean, right? C.J. Anderson's still clean, but Simeon's played well.
Right, and that's not going to continue.
Bills' defense is going to really contain him more than the Broncos are going to contain.
Yeah, they got some games of film on him. He can score. He can score at least 20 points.
That's the best defense in the NFL. And is it at? Okay, it's at Cincy, so that's a little bit.
Well, 3.5. Yeah, I mean that's within.
I'm so glad we're betting with these lines. It makes it so much easier.
It's better with the lines.
All right, well, you can take the Bengals. That's fine. I don't mind winning.
Ooh, another juicy matchup. Vikings at Panthers. Carolina -7.
I'm going to take the Panthers because Sam Bradford's going to have a terrible game.
Take the Vikings. Also, because 7 points is too much against
Woo
two
woo!
teams.
All aboard the Sam Bradford train. What's the next one?
We got Redskins at Giants. Division matchup.
Oh. Do you feel like the Redskins almost have to win this game or their season's over?
And the Cowboys have up-and-coming Dak. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they got to win this game.
So I'll take...
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you, actually.
You should be picking first.
4.5. I think this game's closer than 4.5 point spread.
Right, I'm going to put minus 5.
Bucks.
Yeah, it's just the Rams aren't scored 10 points. They haven't yet. So
they haven't yet through 2 games.
Through 2 games, they haven't scored 10.
Niners at Seahawks. Seattle -9.5. Two teams
You
that
picked
just...
49ers are 1-1.
Yeah, but boy, that second game they played is just horrible.
But the first one...
Well, okay. Back to 49ers, because 9.5... The amount of teams that have covered a 9.5 point spread that have played as crappy as the Seahawks did is just not very many. I'm going to go 49ers.
I can see them at least covering the spread.
Chip Kelly can work some
They've
magic.
been a decent offense this year. I'll give them the...
I'm going to go... Yeah, at home... I got to go
Indianapolis -3.
I'm going to go Chargers.
Oh, Colts. If the Colts will win this, you know how quarterbacks will just get teams wins?
I understand.
This is a game where the Colts, Andrew Luck can win this game.
I get what you're saying about carrying a team, but you can only carry so much. I mean,
All right.
Chargers.
Colts.
Steelers at Eagles. Pittsburgh -5.5. Love it.
I think they can win that game. I mean, I'll ride the Carson Wentz bandwagon until it comes off.
I mean,
not all of them can, but I have faith in Carson Wentz because he comes from a line of winning.
That's just such a weak point, though. There's so many factors above that.
Are there? Who knows more than either of us do about football, and he has a select criteria of what he needs 70%. Mm-hmm. And I think that absolutely when you are on a winning team for a long amount of time, losing is something to make. When you're used to winning your whole career, losing feels dirty. You want a good example of a thing. And he's a good quarterback with talent, but you notice he just doesn't have the right attitude.
I mean, normally your arguments have good amount of substance, numbers behind them.
Tom Brady won games.
A winning attitude, fine pedigree, especially when it comes from North Dakota State. If you have a winning pedigree at SEC State,
he won 4 national titles.
It's North Dakota State.
But
that's the only. Can you name another?
Western Carolina, Villanova. Yeah, they're D1. They're D1A. Done and do all the time. Players come from
quarterback?
D2 and D3.
At quarterback?
Tony Romo. Yes, at quarter. Yes. The answer to that question is yes. Legends have always come from bad schools.
Okay,
quarterbacks do not necessarily come from good schools.
There's bad
especially
schools. That's D1. D2 and FCS is a different story.
He's
the argument that he has a winning pedigree.
Tell me about what you like about what he's done. It's his toughness.
No, I'm refuting your argument that it's based on his winning pedigree. I think that a lot remains to be seen with him and all the other young quarterbacks.
All right, whatever.
All right, last game, really. But I'm not going to watch that game. I hope you're not, and I hope nobody listening is. That is going to be terrible.
A brutal, awful, terrible game. You know what's not brutal and awful?
What's that?
Having Frat Sports back.
Oh,
it's a beautiful thing.
What a great... the time just flew in that show.
Yeah, we've almost been talking for an hour, and it feels like we just barely sat down.
I'm so happy.
It's good to be back. We're good to have the NFL back. Now, as we start to go through this season, we'll be able to actually make constructed arguments based on this season, which I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to ridicule Charlie as he gets a lot of these picks wrong.
Also looking forward to having guests, hopefully starting next week. Usually it'll be our fraternity brothers, but maybe we'll bring in the occasional outside guest.
The occasional G'd.
Occasional G'd.
Or any sorority girl, if you guys are listening. Girls on the show is always a positive.
Of course.
So that's all for us here at Frat Sports. Anything you'd like to say, Charlie?
It's great to be back. I'm so happy football's back. Share our page on Facebook. We're trying to get ourselves out there more this year, definitely. So if you like what you hear, share us on Facebook. Get our name out there.
I'm so glad that you do the shameless self-promotion. All right, it's been good, guys. We'll talk to you later. 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 We'll talk to you later.